First at 4, we're following major breaking news in West St. Louis County. A Ballwin police officer shot and critically injured during a traffic stop this morning.
Here's what we know right now. The officer was shot in the neck and is fighting for his life at Mercy Hospital. The suspect fled the scene of the shooting and was later arrested about 4 miles away from the initial shooting. Police tell us they have also recovered the weapon used in the shooting.
Good evening from Ballwin, a place that's been called one of the safest cities in America. But tonight that sense of safety and security has been shattered after a police officer making a routine traffic stop was shot. Here's what we know tonight. The officer is in critical but stable condition. The suspect, who was on the run after the shooting, is in custody, and police are still searching for a motive. We have a team of reporters covering today's events. Let's begin with News Channel 5's Jacob Long, who is also here in Ballwin. He has been on this story since it broke.
Well, Mike, that suspect that you mentioned, 31-year-old Antonio Taylor, is still in custody tonight at the county jail. He's being held on $500,000 bond, now charged with multiple felonies, all for a crime that police say was an ambush against one of their own.
Today, my heart aches for the men and women of the Ballwin Police Department.
Ballwin police say the shooting happened around 11 Friday morning in the 300 block of New Ballwin Road. An officer who's been on the force for 2 years pulled Taylor over in a Ford Taurus for speeding. But as that officer returned to his squad car to process paperwork, police say Taylor opened fire with a semi-automatic handgun.
The driver came out of the vehicle, advanced quickly on the officer from the back, and fired 3 shots.
Make no mistake, we believed during this investigation that Ballwin officer was ambushed.
Authorities say Taylor fled before he was eventually captured a few miles away after a brief foot chase with police. Back at the scene, 911 calls poured in from neighbors and witnesses as the injured officer lie helpless from taking a bullet to the neck.
You think to yourself, how does this stuff happen in our country? And then it happens in your own neighborhood.
Now Taylor faces 3 felony charges in a case that prosecutors say reflects the danger that comes with enforcing the law.
It just sort of illustrates that the potential is there anytime, and the officers are well aware of that, and I think even more so considering what's going on in the last couple days.
Taylor was on parole at the time of the shooting this morning and was not supposed to be in possession of a firearm. He does have a pretty lengthy criminal history, including other weapons offenses that span several states. Still no word tonight from investigators about his possible motive. Live in Ballwin, Jacob Long, News Channel 5, on your side.
Now, this day began in a residential area of Ballwin. Here's a map that shows where the officer was shot. It happened in the 300 block of New Ballwin Road near Twig Wood Drive. The suspect was caught a short time later off 141 on Burgundy Lane, north of Manchester. A handful of witnesses were on scene even before first responders. With that part of the story, let's bring in News Channel 5's Marianne Martinez.
Mike, we spoke to a woman who was just driving on New Ballwin Road with her young son in the back seat. She saw an officer down and pulled over to help.
This is going to haunt me. I mean, this is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
It was a scene Nicole Regan will never forget. She was driving up New Ballwin Road when she saw an officer down.
I went to pull over to see if I could help, because my initial thought was he was hit by a car.
As Nicole got closer, she saw the officer had been shot. A man had also pulled over to render aid before the ambulance arrived.
It's one thing to see it on the news, you know, and feel a bit of sadness and remorse. But when you're there and you see this happen in front of you and people are standing around and I'm holding and screaming, and this other lady, you know, comes up and we're holding each other screaming.
As other witnesses started gathering, they all grieved together.
We're holding each other and just crying, God, why? God, why? You know, he's just an officer.
Nicole said she tried to shield her son from the scene, and now she is struggling with the fact she can't protect him from everything.
I didn't want to let him know that this is the world that he is living in.
Nicole said she credits the first passerbys who stopped to help the officer. They gave him aid and also called 911. Live in the newsroom, Marianne Martinez, News Channel 5, on your side.